At the start, an ordinary boy named Daimomo reaches the final layer of a dragon dungeon, where he encounters 5 blood-soaked dragons. The dragons scream loudly, but with calm confidence he silences them, telling them that they are dragons, not ordinary creatures, so they should not scream so much because their cries hurt his eardrums. He raises his hand toward the sky and casts Black Hole. A dark, swirling void opens above him, pulling the dragons inside before closing. Instantly, he feels the moment has come, and a system notification appears showing that his level has increased along with his physical attack, physical defense, magic attack, magic defense, and agility. He realizes he has finally reached the level cap. After sacrificing years of sleep to level up, he has finally hit the limit. While searching for an efficient hunting ground and gathering materials to upgrade his equipment, he thinks this is truly the hardest game he has ever played. Suddenly, heavy drops fall from the sky and crash onto the ground, followed by another notification. Lying there, he sees the blood-stained dragon's magical eye. It is a good haul, and he still does not know how many rewards he will receive from the dungeon management. He recalls that 50 years ago, dungeons appeared all over the world. Panic spread at first, but people soon adapted. Inside dungeons, explorers can use magic and skills since rare resources exist there, resources not found outside. The country supports those who dare to enter. Exploration is life-threatening for others, but for him, it is perfect because he is a game addict. He has searched everywhere, yet never heard of leveling beyond the limit, and now wonders what lies on the other side of that boundary. Suddenly, a system notification appears stating that he has unlocked maximum reward and gained access to extra skills. From now on, defeating enemies normally will no longer raise his level. Once his experience points reach a certain limit, he will be able to learn extra skills. One extra skill, teleportation, has already been obtained and is ready for use. Hearing the word teleportation feels interesting to him, and he understands that he could try it right away. But he decides he should get some sleep first, realizing he has been working non-stop since 6 in the morning. Thinking about school tomorrow, he feels no desire to go at all. The next day, when he arrives at school, a boy from class, Onizuka, starts bothering him, saying he needs lots of money and ordering him to hand over 1,000 yen. Daimomo realizes he is being bullied. Onizuka urges him to hurry and threatens to kill him if he causes trouble, so Daimomo hands over the money. Though he feels he should resist, he knows settling matters with money is usually fine. He has enough savings to reach millions, but prefers to save his energy for dungeon exploration. Onizuka punches him in the stomach, knocking him down, saying obedient slaves are useful, and that in a dungeon he'd already have a gut wound. The class laughs, calls him worthless, mocks how easily he handed over the money, and pityingly tells him to value what his parents give. Even so, Daimomo feels all of this is still better than being attacked by a monster. One of Onizuka's companions tells him he saw him streaming the dungeon live with Corias yesterday. Onizuka proudly boasts he actually did it, and had been planning to offer him a collaboration while his companion praises him. Hearing this, Daimomo realizes that dungeon streams are extremely popular now, and Corias is a famous influencer with countless followers. Onizuka's companion, shocked, asks if he really reached level 30. Onizuka proudly calls himself the first king, claiming his skills are on another level, one even celebrities cannot ignore, and adds that yesterday's stream earned him 50,000 yen, boasting that all the credit is his and proving how powerful he truly is. From this, Daimomo realizes the income depends on views and might even be more profitable than hunting S-rank monsters, though continuous monster hunting still feels better. He thinks about testing his new skills soon. The kids keep talking, and after school, Daimomo enters the lowest level vacuum dungeon. A system notification shows all his elemental magic skills: fire, water, ice, wind, earth, dark, and light, with the extra skill teleportation unlocked. Seeing teleportation, he knows he doesn't fully understand it yet, but will learn by using it. From the name, he grasps the basic idea and decides to test it. Suddenly, he hears a loud scream nearby and doesn't know whose it is. Using his perception, he senses someone close, along with 3 dangerous presences that feel strong, though still far. He feels the situation is bad, and in that moment, he activates teleportation. Huge ogres come charging after a girl, and the sight makes Daimomo feel terrible. This was supposed to be an easy stream with just one ogre, and he cannot grasp how everything went so wrong. Meanwhile, comments from the girl's fanbase appear, calling the game easy for an S level. The ogres surround the girl and grab her, leaving the viewers confused. Daimomo feels helpless, but when the ogres attack, one of them suddenly collapses from a single kick, stunning everyone. Daimomo grabs the girl, saves her, asks if she is okay, and when she says she is fine, he tells her to stay put. But another ogre charges in, and he activates teleportation, fighting it easily while viewers try to figure out who he is. He then turns to the remaining ogres, putting full power into each strike and taking them down one by one. The viewers are stunned and begin sending gifts of 10,000 yen, 15,000 yen, thanking him even though they do not know who he is. More gifts follow 5,000, 50,000 with people calling him tonight's knight for protecting Yuria, and the stream floods with comments. Daimomo realizes that compared to yesterday's blood dragon, this is nothing. And when he looks at the girl, he recognizes her as the famous streamer Yuria, someone he had only heard rumors about at school, never expecting to meet her in this dungeon, and he senses that getting involved could cause trouble. So he thinks about heading home, telling her he is glad nothing ended badly and reminding her not to do anything dangerous if she is strong too. She realizes that, despite being guild class level 80, she could easily defeat an opponent that the boy has no chance against. She wonders who he could be, reads his skills, sees level 999 maxed out, and in stunned disbelief asks who he really is. The next morning when he wakes up, his body aches for a little more sleep. He realizes how exhausted he became yesterday after so many unexpected events. Memories of Yuria surface, remembering how she asked for his name and he refused, warning her that if someone famous like her knew it, trouble would follow. Even then, she seriously asked for the initials of his name and the materials he used, but he calmly told her he didn't need to share anything and walked away. On his way to school, he feels a little guilty thinking about it, but he understands that easy introductions can sometimes be dangerous. Suddenly, his classmate Onitsuka shoves him hard, noticing he still looks gloomy as always. Seeing him again, Demamu realizes Onitsuka is not alone. There are many, and he cannot understand their intentions. Full of arrogance, Onitsuka confronts him, bringing up rumors that he saved Yuria and demanding how he defeats the Death Devil and the Ogre in a single strike, which seems impossible. Demamu freezes, noticing that Yuria is streaming even in this situation and that Onizuka now knows it was him. Onizuka shouts, hurls insults, and knocks him to the ground, mocking him and claiming that a loser like him could never accomplish something so extraordinary. Watching all this, Demuno sees how petty and miserable Onizuka still is. He calmly admits that he wasn't responsible yesterday. Onizuka laughs loudly and keeps attacking, but Demuno knows that rumors claiming it wasn't him would be worse than taking the hits. At that moment, Yuria arrives furious, demanding why they are hurting him, shocking everyone, including Demuno, who cannot understand her sudden appearance. Onizuka questions her arrogantly, but her seriousness makes him realize she is asking if all of this counts as bullying. Demomu feels terrified, seeing Yuria behave completely differently from how she does while streaming. He reassures her that he is completely safe. She notices his kindness, but he realizes it's not about that, and understands that if this continues, he might deliberately take more hits and risk his dignity. Onizuka claims a loser like Demuno could never protect her, but Yulia, serious and resolute, tells him he has no right to speak disrespectfully, noting that cowards who gang up on one person are shameful, even compared to Demuno. She emphasizes that his calm, emotionless way of defeating enemies is impressive and cool, completely unlike people like Onizuka. Enraged, Onizuka tries to assert that he is more impressive than Demuno, and brags about possible collaboration and fame. But Yulia calmly exposes how pathetic he really is. Concerned for her, Demuno watches her closely, realizing that Onizuka is unacceptable and that levels don't matter outside the dungeon. Yulia tells Onizuka she is not interested in a filthy person like him, and that he should never appear in her sight again. Enraged beyond control, Onizuka aggressively grabs her, but Demuno instantly intervenes, catching his hand and stopping him. Onizuka shouts, insults, and tries to intimidate him, but Demuno, apologizing yet firm, strikes him with a strong blow that sends him crashing to the ground, leaving everyone shocked at the scene. Demuno stands with calm confidence while Onizuka's companions burst into anger, shouting that he shouldn't act superior just because he defeated Onizuka, insisting that trash stays trash as they charge at him. Demuno counters their attack easily, making it clear that yelling and running their mouths is all they are capable of. Their frustration grows and they circle him from every direction, trying to bring him down, but he takes them out one by one and gives them a harsh, unforgettable lesson. They shout that he will regret this, and suddenly Onikazu pulls out a knife and lunges at him. Yui instantly warns Demono, and at the same moment, Onikazu declares that he is finished, boasting that his older brother is in the Yakuza and won't let him go so easily. Demono stays calm and reminds him that he is the one who pulled the knife, yet now he is the one shaking, and he even tells him he should go back to elementary school. Enraged, Onikazu lunges forward, but Demono catches him instantly, slams him to the ground, and pins him firmly. Onikazu shakes uncontrollably and begs for mercy as the pain pulls him back to his senses. Demono reminds him that he started everything and begged him to stop, yet he didn't stop immediately. Onikazu cries out for Yulia's help, but she shows him her phone screen, making him realize that everything is being streamed live to the whole world, and now it is far too late for apologies. People flood the comments with insults toward Onikazu, defending Yulia. Demono explains that he only listened because arguing was too much trouble and nothing more, then lets him go. Yuria immediately turns to Demono, wondering why he endured everything for so long, despite being this strong. Demono explains that it's all a hassle and he prefers peace, so it's easier to let things slide. They go to a park, sit quietly, and she gently applies Sunnyplast to his wounds. She feels sorry for him and asks if it hurts after being beaten so much, but he calmly says that a punch from an ordinary person can't hurt. Still, in his mind, he reflects on how far he let himself fall and how much dignity he has lost. He realizes that her arrival ruined all his plans. He then asks how she recognized him today after yesterday's events, and she explains she would recognize him anywhere. Embarrassed, he asks if she streamed everything live, and she clarifies that it was self-defense to protect herself. He realizes that even though she is an S-class explorer, outside the dungeon she is just an ordinary girl. Yet it still feels strange to him. He can't understand why someone so famous would care about a normal high school boy. She explains that she came to repay the favor, which surprises him even more, and mentions that she still hasn't properly thanked him since then, though he reassures her not to worry. To her, his calm attitude feels distant. She then reveals her real name, Karin, and he realizes that using Yuria outside could attract attention. He tells her he doesn't want anything in return, and although she gives him a sweet nickname, he firmly warns her not to involve herself with him anymore. She calmly questions why, noting that she knows a lot while also hinting that she has information he doesn't. He shows no interest, yet she continues, explaining about the orichalcum slime, an extremely rare creature with excellent materials, capable of producing top-class equipment, even though she barely has any. Demono realizes how rare it is, and while he is still thinking, she cheerfully mentions that she wants to check the results together after school. He thanks her for the information and heads off, telling her they'll meet later, leaving her even more impressed. Later, when he reaches home and steps into Nishizakura dungeon, he realizes his level is already maxed out, so if he had the strongest equipment too. Demomo enters the Nishizakura dungeon with Yuria, and she instantly notices that some people have received the information even sooner than she expected. He realizes that this is the reason he is here with her. Demomo knows the lower floor of the dungeon is on the 5th level, where the orichalcum slimes are likely to appear, but taking the normal route would take far too long. Yuria grabs his hand, suggesting they just run for now, and tells him that if they reach as fast as possible, they might take out 1 or 2 slimes. Demomo reassures her that it's unnecessary, then activates his teleport skill to reach the location instantly. Yuria is stunned, unable to process how they were on the lower floor moments ago, and are suddenly here now. He calmly explains he recently learned teleport. There, countless orichalcum slimes await. He raises his knife and strikes swiftly, activating his fire magic. As he attacks, he enters the fluorescent zone. Yuria stands stunned, and he asks her why she isn't fighting. She quickly realizes that orichalcum slimes aren't weak to fire magic. He confirms, explaining that normally their defense is so high, even a single point of damage is impossible. But his maxed out stats make it irrelevant. He urges her to move to the next spot. Watching him, Yuria feels a mix of awe and joy. He is the strongest and coolest person she has ever seen. She resolves to become strong like him, someone worthy of his presence. When the slimes try to escape, he immediately gives chase. Yuria tells him to leave it to her and unleashes her water magic skill, Absolute Arrow, showcasing her impressive power. Together, they take down the slimes. After collecting a large amount, both of them grow tired. Yuria glances at her level and sees it has reached 150, far beyond what even S-rank explorers usually achieve. She is shocked and realizes this happened because of him, though he tells her they could only hunt so many slimes thanks to the information she provided. She insists it's all his doing, everything, and expresses joy at meeting him. Suddenly, a system notification appears and announces that Demomo has gained a new extra skill, Magic Attack Reflection. He is surprised, wondering if it reflects magical attacks or has some other effect, and decides to test it in the next battle. This becomes his second extra skill, the reward for defeating hundreds of Orichalcum slimes. But the item he's most curious about is still in the system Orichalcum slime drops, including rare materials. He understands that dungeon monsters drop rewards and materials according to their strength, and that treasure orbs are extremely rare. Collecting 17 of them is a remarkable achievement. Then he opens Word of the Apocalypse in his system, noting only one material remains to complete it. This sword can only be forged with 100 of these rare materials. He doesn't yet know its true power, only that it is extremely mysterious. With so many rare materials required, he knows it will be a legendary weapon and decides to complete it at all costs. Suddenly, Yoraya screams and he rushes over, asking what's wrong. She sees her reward on the screen and is shocked at 60 million gold or 60 million yen. She wonders if taking so much is really okay. He reassures her that it's fine. She points out that most of the fighting was his effort, but he insists they couldn't have defeated the slimes without her. The reward belongs to her. Meanwhile, other explorers enter and are shocked to see so many Orichalcum slimes defeated. They realize they were the first to reach the lowest floor and wonder who did this. Even S-rank explorers need 100 minutes to defeat a single slime. Quietly, Demomo uses teleport to whisk Yoraya away. People hear a faint sound but dismiss it as imagination. By the next morning, news and commotion had spread everywhere. In the morning, Demomo checks his phone and sees Asahi News going viral. His swift defeat of the Orichalcum slimes shocks everyone, flooding social media and leaving people in awe of someone capable of rewriting dungeon exploration history. Stunned, Demomo realizes the situation is slipping out of his hands, and he is seriously messed up. Suddenly, a message from Onizuka arrives, ordering him to come to the Sky Dungeon at 10 p.m. with Yuria, claiming that this time he will definitely kill him. Demomo recalls their previous encounter and realizes that Onizuka and his gang haven't come to school since the assault incident, the moment Onizuka tried to stab him, broadcast live by Yuria. He assumed the police would act by now, but strangely no news appeared. Onizuka's words echo in his mind that his older brothers are in the Yakuza, and he would not be able to escape. With a serious mind, Demomo wonders if the Yakuza are truly involved. A call from Yuria interrupts his thoughts. She confirms she received Onizuka's message too, and plans to broadcast the duel live to the whole country. He tells her she doesn't need to come and must stay safe, explaining the danger and that outside the dungeon, she is just a normal high school girl. She insists that these rules apply to him too, reminding him that even though he defeated Onizuka's gang, this involves the Yakuza. He assures her he can handle it. With seriousness, she confesses her love, worried for him, and asks what she would do if something happens. He stays calm, saying he will handle it himself and begins to leave, but she points out that his courage comes from caring for others, and without it, he would never have risked his fame to save her. She tells him that if he hadn't saved her before, she wouldn't be alive, and insists that this time she will be the one to protect him. Her combat power may be weak, but she can spread the news through her channel, and she will go even if he refuses, since she already knows the location. He finally agrees, and she adds that outside the region he must not take a single step away from her. He agrees, ending the call, realizing what a genuinely good woman she is. The next day, at exactly 10 p.m., he enters the Sky Dungeon. Onikazu greets him, mocking that he thought Demomo ran, but his stupidity is still alive. Demomo points out that his shoulders are already healed. Accepting this, Onikazu sneers that he is no ordinary face, and around him roam doctors he has never even seen. Demomo calmly asks if he means some back alley doctor, and checks with Yuria if her streaming setup is ready. She confirms everything is perfect, and the crowd watching grows as the fight begins. Onikazu turns to Yuria, daring her to watch closely, claiming he is far stronger than Demomo, and will prove it today. He then faces Demomo, promising to show something impressive. jumps and smashes the ground around him, boasting that he trained while healing and reached level 50. Demamu instantly sees through the lie. No one could gain 20 levels so quickly without a huge advantage. Only one explanation remains: exp juice, consumed in large quantities. Onikazu looks at his face and asks if he is scared, and the viewers watching the livestream feel the same, just as Demamu realizes. Standing with calm confidence, Demamu sees that all Onikazu can do is bark. Then he declares he will fight using only one finger, and if he breaks that rule, victory is Onikazu's. Shocked, Onikazu hesitates but then accepts, telling him to prove it if he can. Onikazu leaps forward and slashes his sword. He attacks only connects with the afterimage, as Demamu moves behind him. Before he can realize what is happening, Demamu flicks him on his head, sending him crashing to the ground. Feeling insulted, Onikazu lashes out in anger, only to have his sword shattered as it makes contact with Demamu. Enraged, he screams out that he is level 50 and continues attacking, unwilling to accept that he is outmatched. However, Demamu blocks his attacks with the same ease as before, until finally his second sword breaks as well. Tired and injured, he kneels to the ground, seemingly having given up. However, this is revealed to be a trick, as Demamu finds himself surrounded by magic circles. He is pelted by fireballs from all directions. Onikazu laughs confidently, believing he has finally won. However, Demamu rises from the smoke, revealing his magic reflection skill. He reflects all the fireballs back at Onikazu, leaving him defeated. Yuria comes running, praising Demamu for his incredible win. Seeing this opportunity, Onikazu unleashes another trick up his sleeve. And with that, both of them leap toward each other. Suddenly, an explosion shakes the air, and Onikazu curses at them, shouting that they should die right now. Demamu pulls Yuria aside, shielding her from the blast. She worries for him, but he stays calm, assuring her he's fine and urging them to get outside. Guiding her through the side exit, he checks again, and she confirms she's all right. But more enemies are already waiting outside, telling him he is late and that they have been waiting for him. Seeing the entire gang, Demamu studies the situation and realizes the earlier duel was only bait to lure him here, and that the real fight was meant to happen in this place from the start. They confirm it, amused that someone so young can read the situation so well. Demamu also understands they watched the video of him killing the Death Devil Ogre in one strike, and knew they could never face him inside the dungeon, so they forced the battle outside. They tell him their boss ordered this, so no one should take it personally. They assure him that Onikaza is safe, though even they admit it feels childish to go this far against a kid. But with their family's reputation at stake, they harden their tone and tell him to give up and die. Yuria trembles at the sight of so many armed men, and begs Demamu to run, but he steps forward with steady resolve, ready to stake his life. One of the large men bursts into laughter, mocking him for acting brave in front of his girl, and calling him nothing more than a child, raising his weapon to end them both. As the attack comes down, Demamu catches the weapon in a firm grip, his expression cold. He warns them that defeating him outside the dungeon is impossible, that even Yakuza's strength cannot reach him, and that it would take 100 years for anyone to bring him down. His fist strikes the man's face with brutal force, knocking him down instantly and leaving the others frozen. Status effects don't exist outside the dungeon, yet his power feels real, overwhelming, and unstoppable. His mind drifts back to childhood, to the moment his father placed a firm hand on his head and promised to teach him the secrets of combat, acknowledging the strength in his instincts. Demamu had confessed he never wanted a life of violence, only peaceful days with friends like any other boy. Yet his father bore the weight of knowing that the son of a Yakuza boss rarely gets such a life. Now, standing amid the chaos, he feels the truth in his heart. He has always only wanted peace. Yuria, shaken, asks if he is all right, and he lifts his gaze to the enemies surrounding them. With quiet certainty, he declares that he will fight while protecting her, and not a single one of them will lay a scratch on him. They have pushed him too far, and he promises they will regret it from the depths of hell. Knocking them down, Demamu warns them that they will regret angering him from the depths of hell. Even after seeing all this, they convince themselves he is not an ordinary civilian, just a mere boy making that face, and reassure each other there is nothing to fear. As they advance, Demamu strikes each of them down one by one. Witnessing this, they cannot believe it and fail to understand how this person is equally formidable outside the dungeon. Observing him, Yuria begins to wonder who he really is. Demamu points out their lack of practical experience and tells them they cannot expect other families to hold back at this pace. Shocked, they cannot fathom how a kid could possess such knowledge. To them, he appears like a spoiled rich kid with book smarts, but Demamu makes it clear that compared to monsters, they are at an infant's level. Their anger surges further as he mocks them. As they move to attack them, Demamu strikes them down one by one with precision. They cannot comprehend how they are being defeated by a child. He pins a wounded man to the ground, demanding answers, questioning if their brains are as infantile as their bodies. The man laughs, claiming he can do nothing but talk, and warns him that their boss, Aniki Jinba, will arrive soon. When that happens, everything will end for him. Hearing the name, Demamu recalls it immediately. The man explains that he is formidable, and a person like him would be finished in an instant. Jinba arrives swinging toward the group, and notes their moves are not bad. He draws his knife and attacks Demomo, but Demomu blocks him. Jinba senses his capability. Seeing his wound, Demomu recalls a scene from his childhood, and remarks that his face is as terrifying as always. Shocked, Jinba observes the scene, and Yuria asks if Demomu knows him. Demomu explains that Jinba is the one who raised him in place of his father. Jinba is stunned, unsure why he is here. Looking at the fallen opponents, Demomu reminds him that these are the ones who picked a fight with him. Jinba faces them with seriousness, making it clear they challenged the wrong person. Demomu Rei, son of Kemisu Yamagumi's boss, the Bloody Silencer. Hearing this, everyone is shocked that he is the boss's son, the Bloody Silencer. Seeing the whole scene, Demomu realizes Yuria is safe and that they are both out of danger. He tells her to stay close, warning that anything can happen. Her silence clearly shows her fear, which he finds unsurprising. Turning to Jinba, he asks what is happening. Jinba denies bribing politicians for Onizuka, explaining that the act came from a subordinate group and that Kamisu Miyagumi is not directly involved. Demomu sees this as the outcome he expected and wonders why politicians are involved, since the whole matter seems far too big for Onizuka. Jinba shares the same reaction, showing that even they are surprised by the situation. Demomu asks for the meaning behind this, and Jinba explains in a low voice that a sinister atmosphere hangs over the entire organization, and no one knows what will happen. This truth deepens Demomu's sense that everything is strange. He knows Kamisumi Agumi stands as one of Japan's most powerful groups, and he struggles to understand how such a large organization could fall into such an odd mistake. Jinba lowers his head, apologizing, making it clear that the fault lies under his supervision, and he asks for forgiveness. Daimomo explains that cutting support for Onizuka is what truly matters, admitting that even seeing his face angers him. Jinba agrees, saying this was never their real intention, and offers secret items from the dungeon administration as a small gesture. Demomu realizes from this that the organization is tied to the government and that the X-Juice Onizuka likely used is probably under dungeon administration control. He tells Jinba that he does not need such items because they are illegal anyway, but Jinba insists that they are not illegal and that he will like them. Demomu turns his attention to what truly matters and asks about his father. Jinba reassures him that his father is safe, and even shouted when he saw Onizuka strike him. Demomu feels the familiar warmth and realizes his father is just as always a man who spoils him, but commands fear from his subordinates. A childhood memory surfaces when his father comforted him about his grades, and Demomu realizes he has always been treated with affection. In that moment, he cannot imagine his father ever ordering his disposal. He senses that something is wrong inside the organization, something connected to the ominous atmosphere Jinba mentioned. Jinba tells him he wants to send him some secret items later, believing he will like them. He adds that he heard Onizuka stole 500,000 yen, and they plan to double it and take responsibility from his older brother. Demomu calmly refuses, saying there is no need for such trouble, and points out that Yulia's streaming equipment is likely broken, so a new identical set should arrive by tomorrow. Jinba accepts the order and promises to handle the cleanup. Demomu assures him of his trust and leaves with her. Her silence continues, but he knows she usually stays quiet. Even then, she cannot be blamed because the boy she chased turned out to be tied to a dangerous group. He knows anyone would retreat in such a situation. These thoughts take him back to childhood, to moments when all his friends left him in fear. He remembers how easily people changed around him, unable to understand why they ran from him, all because he belonged to a Yakuza family. And that's why he grows obsessed with being ordinary, keeps his distance from others, loses himself in games, and lives within the dungeon. He realizes he existed like an empty shell, blaming his birth and staying away from everyone. After all this, he apologizes to Yuria, acknowledging how frightening everything was, and tells her that she now understands he is not the great man she thought he was. He reminds her that they survived today, but danger can appear again, and staying with him will only bring trouble. Sadness fills him as he tells her to leave him, because being with someone like him never leads to anything good. Deep inside, he knows all along that a normal life is something he should never have wished for. The next morning, he wakes up still feeling the fatigue from yesterday. A message arrives from Jinba saying the Onakusa matter has been taken care of, and the news shows that Onakusa has been arrested. Daimomo realizes Jinba arranged everything and messages him back, praising his work. Jinba also says Yura's streaming equipment is ready, but the delivery still needs to be decided. Hearing her name brings back memories of yesterday when he told her she should leave him, claiming nothing good could come from being with someone like him. Yet she refused to accept it and made him realize it wasn't true. He cautioned her that being with him could put her in danger, but she reassured him, saying he still doesn't fully understand how much she loves him, and reminding him that she sensed everything from the very beginning when Onakusa attacked, when the Yakuza name was mentioned and he didn't flinch, and even when a knife was pointed at him, he remained calm. She tells him she always thought he was cool and wasn't surprised even after learning the truth. Suddenly, she hugs him tightly, urging him not to keep everything inside, saying she knows he is kind-hearted and that she fell for him because of that. She doesn't care if people call her foolish or reckless and asks him to keep her by his side. He is stunned, realizing this girl is truly strange. Everyone avoids him, yet she moves closer and stands firmly by his side. He feels this might be what he has wished for since childhood, something she has given him, and he realizes just how truly unusual she is. He messages Jinba to drop him at school, and Jinba follows his order. As they arrive, Daimomo notices everyone is clearly afraid of him, and it seems everyone has watched the live stream. A girl suddenly calls out to him, happily thanking him, saying she was bullied too and they stopped bothering her because of him. Daimomo realizes the school's atmosphere after Onikaze's attack has made it hard for bullies to act, and he tells the girl she shouldn't worry, he didn't do anything, reminding her she is finally free from those pathetic boys and should live her life fully now. She agrees happily and thanks him again. As he moves forward, a woman appears and says she has been waiting for him. She holds a car key, dressed neatly, and explains that the car is from the boss, meant to show the others so the useless kids would stay quiet. He is shocked, unable to understand this foolish idea or what the boss is thinking. Seeing him with her, the students wonder if she is his girlfriend, especially since she arrives in a luxury car, and the woman mentions they truly live in different worlds. Hearing this, Daimomo remembers his peaceful, ordinary life, and asks her seriously if this is the same under-the-table matter Jinba mentioned. She confirms it and tells him to get in, and they leave. When they reach the building's basement, Jinba asks whether he is angry or not, and Daimomo tells him he definitely is and hopes Jinba is ready for what comes next. He yells in anger, reminding him he wanted a normal life and accusing him of completely ruining it. Jinba apologizes and explains that regarding the under-the-table issue, the top official of the dungeon administration, the administrative vice minister, wants to meet him. Hearing this makes Daimomo even angrier, telling him this isn't just troublesome, it's beyond the limit. Jinba explains he told them Daimomo would likely refuse, but after watching the video of him instantly killing the Death Devil Ogre, they insisted on meeting him and wouldn't back down. He reminds him this meeting could be a valuable connection and requests him to accept it. Hearing this, Daimomo senses the meeting might also be important for the organization and tells Jinba that since he is going this far, he must know what he is doing. Jinba confirms it, explaining that the vice minister is a reasonable man and Daimomo should expect a good benefit. When they arrive, the minister immediately recognizes him, and Daimomo realizes that on the very first day, he has become the center of attention. He remembers his peaceful, normal life, and on his way back home, the same woman suddenly stops her car near him, telling him they were waiting for him.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand,